Dear listeners of the AUIB FM 101.5, welcome to new episode of the Uni Voice Show and to our segment Meet the Experts, where we bring you inspiring conversations with the academics and professionals who share their knowledge and experiences. Today's episode is especially valuable for students or anyone interested in learning more about the field of international studies. This major opens the door to understanding global politics, international relations, and different cultures. So, if you are thinking about studying a field that combines politics, history, and global society, then this episode is for you. And we are delighted to host Dr. Elizabeth Bishop, a professor at the College of International Studies at the American University of Iraq, Baghdad. She is a historian specializing in modern Iraqi history, particularly the Hashemite Kingdom of Iraq, and has made important academic contributions in the field of history, politics, and culture. So, dear listeners, let's begin our conversation and learn more about this fascinating field as well as our guest's journey. But before we do that, let's say hello and welcome to Dr. Elizabeth.
Hello.
Well, I want to say that it's a pleasure to have you with us today at the Uni Voice Show, especially Meet the Experts segment. And before we dive deep into the meaning of international studies, who is Dr. Elizabeth Bishop to the listeners and the viewers?
I'm happy to be here. There was a time I was your biggest fan in Texas, and now I get to be here with you.
Well, that's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
I'm a historian of the modern Arab world. I've been working in the field since the 1990s. My areas of expertise are the 1950s. Like you pointed out, I have research contributions in the field of the Hashemite monarchy. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, that's excellent. And I want to ask more about the international studies. What are the main skills that students gain from studying the international studies, especially here at AUIB?
Perfect. What's unique about our program is that after completing required core liberal arts courses, our students take a variety of specialized courses which culminate in an internship and a 2-course thesis sequence, so that by the time they graduate our program, our students have empirical experience and recognized academic knowledge.
Okay, so what makes the International Studies program at the American University of Iraq, Baghdad unique compared to other universities, even around the world, not just locally?
Thank you for asking that wonderful question. It's true that both the American University of Beirut and the American University in Cairo have equivalent sequences to our AUIB CIS degree. With that said, I think that the small size of our classes, our students' extraordinary opportunities for personal growth through the internship, and the close mentoring of their faculty instructors makes our program unique.
Okay, so what kind of courses or programs do students study within this major here at AUIB? Can you explain it to the people, the listeners, the viewers also?
Excellent. This term, during spring 2026, we have courses in public policy. We have courses in the Middle East and Iran. We have courses in, we have 6 students who are currently fulfilling their internship requirements. And we have approximately 12 students who are completing their thesis requirements.
Well, that's really, I'm glad to hear that about all these students. And I want to ask after graduation, because there is a lot of students today who are about to graduate from AUIB. After graduation, what are the main career paths or job opportunities available for international studies graduates?
I'm so glad you asked that question. We look forward to celebrating a happy day with our graduates and congratulate all AUIB graduates on their happy occasion. In terms of our CIS students, many of them develop career opportunities straight from the internship. So, for example, during the past 2 years, 4 of our students have had internships with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. 1 student has a current internship with UNESCO, and one with a major governmental office. If I were to speak of our students' career paths based on the most recent graduate cohort, a third of our students served the national government, a third of the students went into employment with multinational corporations, and a third of the students pursue higher education at the postgraduate level.
Well, this is really something that give hope to the people who are studying the international studies here at AUIB and the people who want to study this field at AUIB at the end. So I want to move to another questions about the backgrounds and contributions for you, especially Dr. Elizabeth. What made you choose to study the Iraqi history specifically?
I chose to study Iraqi history specifically because, as a specialist of the 1950s, this was one of the most important jurisdictions in the politics of the 1950s. If you're familiar with the idea of Malcolm Carr, who talked about the Arab Cold War as a representation of a global conflict, he said that you looked for the Hashemite monarchy versus Egypt's free officers. I just thought it was the best idea ever, but I had to have real knowledge in order to evaluate it. That's what drew me here.
So can you tell us about the first research paper you wrote? I mean, you're laughing, but I want to know from the beginning about the first research paper you wrote and what was the experience was like in the beginning. I mean, doing research about this really important topics, it must be difficult and complicated.
The first research paper I ever published, it's titled Economic Imperialism and the Palestine Mandate. It's published in an edited volume called Imperialism on Trial that was published in 2006 and is still in print. I cannot forget to this day how terrified I was to write my thoughts, to provide the documentation, and then to turn the manuscript over to my co-editors and eventually the publisher. The emotions of that day are still with me, but I'm delighted to say that that volume has left a real impact on the field. It's been cited approximately 50 times in the last 10 years, and it looks like there are a number of historians, sociologists, political scientists who are very interested in the study of the mandate states that were created by the League of Nations between the two world wars.
So, Dr. Elizabeth, among your works, which one is the closest to your heart and why?
The one that's closest to my heart is called The Politics of Cinema in Hashemite Iraq.
Okay.
I published it maybe 10 years ago in Italy in a journal called Oriente Moderno.
Okay.
And why is it dear to my heart? I loved the research. I had such a good time. I read through old newspapers to find advertisements of the films that were showing in cinemas.
Okay.
I read people's memoirs to find out how they experienced cinema, why they went to the cinema, whether they went with other people. I read through government publications to find out how much tickets cost and what the taxes were on the tickets. I just had a great time pulling it all together. And I'm happy to say that other people read it.
Excellent. I want to ask you something about the Hashemite Kingdom history. I mean, I've read a lot of research for you about this specific topic. Why you are interested in that topic specifically for the people?
I'm interested in the topic specifically because it's hard to answer. On the one hand, when I started to learn about the government that was associated with the Hashemite monarchy, I felt very satisfied that the quality of information that was available is a very high quality. I was able to read their publication. I was able to read the laws. And this was very satisfying for me as a historian. The other reason is that, I mean, again, as a historian, you want a story that has a beginning and an end.
Okay.
And for the Hashemite monarchy, it has very clear boundaries.
Yes.
It begins in 1921, it ends in 1958.
That's interesting.
It makes it really easy to feel that you have access to the necessary documentation to make a valuable insight. I'm not
Okay.
quite sure this is the answer your listeners want to hear.
No, of course. I mean, someone who is not an Arabic roots person and they are very interested in that topic and give research about it to the people. Maybe even the Arab people don't know about these things. And it was surprisingly that Dr. Elizabeth Bishop did that for the Arabic people. It must be interesting to know why is this important topic for this Dr. Elizabeth. I mean, at the end, we want to know more about Dr. Elizabeth, not just what she's giving to the students of AUIB.
All right.
And I want to ask you, after all these research, what is the most important thing you have learned from studying the Iraqi society?
The most important thing I've learned from studying the Iraqi society. I don't think I have the ability to say I have my own observations about Iraqi society, but Ali Awardi is a sociologist who had observations about Iraqi society. I think my most important observations came from my study of Ali Awardi.
How did you discover this person?
Well, you know, he completed his PhD in Texas.
Okay.
At the University of Texas. And so I went to the university archives and I found all of his student records and I found his communication with his faculty. And this is how I came to feel that I knew his work beyond just what I read.
So, compared to what you've read for Ali al-Wardi about the Iraqi society, and you're living now within Iraqi society, similar Iraqi society, is there any difference or it's the same and it's deep?
I would love to ask you that same question because as a historian, I feel like every era is unique unto itself.
Yes.
And he lived during the 1940s.
Yes.
And I'm not sure this country is the same as it was during the 1940s.
Of course.
Although there were many changes during that decade, and there are many changes now.
Yes.
I think I would ask you, how insightful do you find Ali Wardi on the contemporary Iraqi society? And then I would return to my reading with a fresh eye.
I mean, these kinds of people have a deep observation for the Iraqi person and how he and she lived in this Iraqi society. And they give you the real picture of the life back then.
That's right.
And now we are a different people, different circumstances. So there is a different story, maybe from us to the future. This is my answer.
This is a wonderful answer.
Okay.
He devoted his entire life to his work.
Okay. So what advice would you give to students who want to enter the field of research or history, specifically here at AUIB?
This is wonderful. Our students, specifically here at AUIB, have outstanding resources available to them. Our university library, our AUIB library, indeed Ahmed Bashir, are a fantastic active resource looking out for students' opportunities to gain knowledge, to gain information, and for personal growth.
Okay. So is there anything new for the international study students here at AUIB to the future?
Is there anything new for the international studies students?
Like programs, plans for them?
We are very honored to be one of the first colleges. We are one of the first 3 colleges to graduate students. And our connection with our alumni is a very important part of our future. Of course, each class of graduating students just becomes our newest alumni, and we look forward to maintaining our excellent connection with them as we move into the future. We take great pride in the accomplishments of our alumni. As far as we're concerned, they never leave our campus. They're always here in our hearts.
So at the end, Dr. Elizabeth Bishop, a professor here at the International Studies at AUIB, thank you so much for joining us here at the Meet the Expert segments in the Uni Voice Show. If you want to say anything at the end, the mic is yours.
Thank you so much for inviting me. This is such an honor. What a pleasure it is to be here in your studio today.
You're welcome anytime, and it's our pleasure to have you with us here at AUIB FM.
Thank you.